Hello booktube, hello book friends. Welcome back to my channel and another reading week video. This one for Saturday the 4th of October 2025. So we are into the final quarter of 2025. It's been an odd week. I haven't finished that many books, although I don't think I've been reading any less than I normally do. Maybe a little bit less, but not that much. So let's talk about the things I've finished and then talk about a few other things. And I want to talk about a channel update as well. So I started this, I think, last week. I think I mentioned it in last week's video. George Simenon's Maigret and the Minister, a Maigret novel. Second one I've read relatively recently in the last couple of weeks. This was good. Wasn't as good as Maigret and the Loner, which was the one I read before, but this was still good. This wasn't so much this wasn't like a murder mystery. This was a mystery around some documents that had disappeared from the minister's house that related to potential wider crimes, basically misadministration in government and things like that. And it wasn't clear, obviously, who had taken the documents, potentially why they'd been taken came out fairly quickly. It was really kind of to, remove evidence and potentially show corruption on the minister's part, even though he was pretty much blameless of what had taken place. Really interesting. I mean, Maigret obviously not very happy about investigating what he considers probably to be politically motivated crime rather than crime itself, and one that he finds quite difficult in sharing with his team because they really don't know why they're investigating what they're investigating. So although they can guess and work it out. But yeah, really good read. Would recommend Maigret and the Minister if you haven't read this particular one. Then I picked up I picked up Siegfried Sassoon's war poems, not with the intention of reading them, but because I wanted to use a particular poem in a tag video, which was the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy tag that I did last Sunday, I think. Didn't in the end use Siegfried Sassoon. I wanted to use Siegfried Sassoon's In the Pink for the Vogon poetry prompt, which I didn't use. Instead, I used Marianne Allen's The Wind on the Downs, which has been one of my favourite war poems since I went back to looking at war poetry in detail. But because I had this out and because it was a pretty miserable day out, I ended up going through it, in fact, pretty much all the way through. I started it on I don't know when I started it, whatever day it relates to whatever day I did that video anyway, probably the Saturday. And then I carried on reading. So yeah, reread all of Siegfried Sassoon's war poems. Kind of makes me want to go back to doing Poetry Thursday on war poets, and maybe I will. I need to do a bit more research before I do that. But yeah, I really enjoyed going back and revisiting this. I've also been dipping in and out of two books. I've got kind of two current reads at the moment. One is one that I showed, I think, last week, which is Dracula's Guest and Other Weird Stories by Bram Stoker. I did share this because I had quite a few comments about it, and a couple of questions, and I thought I'd just spend a bit of time talking about some of those comments because I think they're sort of applicable more widely. So this is Dracula's Guest is a short story. In fact, it's a short story because it's only. Let me see if I can just find the title page. So Dracula's Guest is 13 pages, and this is a fairly standard size typeface Penguin Classic. So you know the sort of thing. So it is a short story. It's not. In fact, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9 short stories, which run to about 150 pages. And I've read the first 60 odd pages. So I'm about a third of the way through, roughly, of the short stories. And they're really good. They're really good short stories, I have to say. If you can get hold of a copy of this, I recommend it, particularly if you like reading Dracula, you'll probably like this. So there's one that centers around a cat whose kitten is killed by a man, and the cat manages to get revenge by the man getting locked into an Iron Maiden, which is a medieval torture device. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, Dracula's Guest is really good. They're all that I've read so far really good. And then the rest of this book is The Lair of the White Worm. And I didn't know this, but Dave, who runs Occult Detective magazine, left a comment saying, check to see if it's the full 40 chapters or if it's the cut down 20 something, I think he said it was, chapters. And this is the full 40 chapters. So it's 40 plus. There's a couple of appendices which relate to the short stories and sort of notes and so on. So it is the full version of The Lair of the White Worm. So yeah, those were kind of the principal kind of comments. But yeah, as I say, I'm really enjoying this. I would have read more only for the fact I'm also reading something else, which is John Connolly's Every Dead Thing. And this I'm reading for the next episode of Shelf Talkers, which I do with MJ at Reading This Life. I'm not going to tell you anything about this because MJ might watch it, and that would be a spoiler for our next episode. But suffice to say, if you haven't watched the most recent one, which went out on Tuesday, the 30th of September, I'll link to it below. I really suggest go watching it because it was a lot of fun to record. It's got some really unexpected moments in it. That's all I'm going to say. Just if you're at all interested, the book we were talking about, was The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, which we read in September. So this was September's pick, which MJ chose. Yeah, just go have a look because as I say, it is a lot. It was a lot of fun to record, and I think that comes across in the video. I'll link to it below. So yeah, the only other thing that I was going to talk about, well, two things I was going to talk about. My channel seems to have passed 400 subscribers, which I'm just, I can't believe 400 people watch my videos. So thank you, each and every one of you. I'm quite blown away. I think when I last looked, I was it keeps it, you gain a few and you lose a few, and I think we're in the somewhere between 425 and 430 at the moment. It's fluctuating, but it's still climbing. So yeah, I am lost for words when I think about, people watching my videos. So I'm grateful to everybody who watches. I'm grateful to everybody who comments. And yeah, thank you very much. That's all I can say. The final thing I wanted to talk about was another book that I want to try and read this month. It was completely unplanned. I didn't expect to be thinking about reading it at all, but as you may know, the biologist, primatologist, environmentalist, activist Jane Goodall passed away earlier this week. She was 91, I think, still working on a speaking tour in the States. Passed away from natural causes, as I understand it. She was a very big inspiration to me as a young biologist, particularly when I was kind of 16 plus. So I was just kind of starting to do A levels and looking at zoology and things in more detail than you kind of get to do at school. And so the book I want to try and reread is her book, In the Shadow of Man, which charts some of the work that she did in Gombe with chimpanzees back in the kind of 60s. Yeah, 1960s. So I've had this copy for probably since I was sort of 16 or 17, I guess. It's in very good condition. There's a family tree of the chimps, and it is beautifully, beautiful photographs throughout. There's photographs of her in the jungle following chimps. There's photographs of the chimps themselves. Just I read this probably when I was 17 or 18, I would guess. And I don't think, that I have read it since, but not recently. So yeah. So I just want to go back and reread that. That's it, I think, on that note. So, if you have been, thank you for watching. If you're one of the 400, if you're not subscribed and would like to, please feel free. I'd be deeply honoured to have you as a subscriber if you're not already. And thank you all for watching. I will speak to you again soon. I have an announcement video coming in the next couple of days, which 8-year-old me is very excited about. That's all I'm going to say. So that's coming up next few days. And I will speak to you again then, if I don't speak to you before. Take care. Bye-bye.